Hi, everyone. Happy Monday. Today, we're going to talk about Diddy's ex is snitching on him and he's still paying her rent. Let's get into it, guys. Hold on. So today was a very interesting day for the prosecution. I believe they bounced back and they had a win. The first 2 days, from what I'm reading and hearing, wasn't so good for Jane Doe, but the third day was better. It was more of a win for the prosecution. She came across clearer. We heard about more physical abuse, and I'm gonna tell you guys, I think the summation of this case should be addiction. Diddy was addicted to sex, drugs. Jane Doe is addicted to shopping. All these women are addicted to Diddy in some way, shape, or form. And we heard a lot more of it. I'm going to play this clip. This is Lauren Conlon. Shouts out to her. She is actually in the courtroom. I actually saw her up close and personal. Very beautiful lady. I was a little too shy to go up to her. But here's her clip. I'm going to give a brief
U.S.
update
versus
for what
Sean
she
Combs,
said.
day 19, afternoon update. Where to begin? Ooh, let's start with a recorded call that was played right before the break. And there's a lot of speculation around this because a lot of people are wondering where it came from. There's been talk that it was KK. Was it a wiretap? But essentially, it was Diddy speaking to Jane on the phone after Cassie's lawsuit dropped around this time, and he's kind of like freaking out. And he actually says, "Are you recording me?" And then this afternoon, we heard a lot. We got a lot of information. So let's start with this. Jane admitted that Diddy still pays for her lawyer. And I mean the lawyer that's sitting directly in front of me in court watching her testify. And then we heard about an entertainer or an escort that sextorted her. What happened was Diddy I guess, took a video of them in the act, but he accidentally picked up Cabral, this entertainer's phone, and recorded through his phone. And he had called Jane at one point and says, "Look, if you don't give me $10,000, I'm going to release this." So she freaked out, was really nervous, calls Diddy, and he gets their legal team on it. And Jane calls him and says, "Look, this is extortion or sextortion, and we have lawyers on this, so you really shouldn't do anything." And she didn't hear from him for a while, and then she ended up hearing from a very large media company. We don't know what that company is, but essentially they asked her if she had any comment before they were going to release this tape. She calls Diddy very upset. She actually said she fainted just about, and he got his legal team on it, and the video was never released. She testified that she doesn't know what happened, but she knows that it wasn't released. Then this is where it got pretty crazy. Well, you'll see. I mean, it gets crazier, but she discussed a 2024 Miami trip, and this was May of 2024, and this was when the CNN video was released. So she describes how Diddy found out about it, and she was there. She said that they were in bed and they were sleeping, and one of his sons knocked on the door and grabbed him, and then she kind of says he basically disappeared for the rest of the day. He was in these huddles with his friends and his family. And so she gets up, she doesn't really know what's going on, but she goes to the breakfast table. She's about to eat breakfast and she sees the video, and she was like, "Oof, I lost my appetite." She says eventually towards the end of the day, he kind of invites her into this huddle, kind of explains what's going on, and it seems like he's crafting an apology. And so she describes seeing the final draft of this apology and approving and saying, "Yeah, this is good. It's whatever." Oh, and she also said that Diddy told her that it was the only time that he and Cassie had been physical, and he told her that Cassie was, quote, a hitter. And so
He approved that draft. What the? Yo, Diddy, you did this fraud? This broad that you were doing these sexcapades with to tell you if that was a good draft? Like, are you kidding me? Guys, we gotta, okay. So we're gonna play more of Lauren's video, but I gotta remind you guys of what Diddy's apology looked like and how much of a mess he sounded. Let me pull this clip up because I gotta remind you guys, he sounded a mess. This is who this is what he trusted. Let me play this clip for y'all guys. Hold on, let me pull this up. He said this sounded good, guys. I'm gonna tell you why it sounds a mess.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. But sometimes you got to do that. I was fucked up. I mean, I hit rock bottom. But I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy, and go into rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace.
He had to go to therapy. He had to go to rehab. He had to ask God for his mercy and grace. But not once does he say, Cassie, I'm sorry for doing that to you. Not once did he say, sorry for my daughters and women and everyone everywhere having to see this. Oh, wait. He says, I'm so sorry. But it's almost like a blanket apology. Who are you apologizing to? Let me play the rest.
But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
I just feel like he's sorry that it came out. I don't feel genuine remorse watching that. And so going back to Lauren Conlin's video, and I'm going to play the rest of it now, but going back to that, it's almost like, are you sorry or are you sorry you got caught? Like, are you sorry? Are you sorry you got caught? Let me play the rest of her video now.
And approving and saying, yeah, this is good, it's, you know, it's whatever. Oh, and she also said that Diddy told her that it was the only time that he and Cassie had been physical, and he told her that Cassie was, quote, a hitter. And so anyway, she says, oh yeah, this is a good draft, you know, she approves. And then when the video came out, the government's line of questioning around the video, and by the way, they played the audio of his apology, and I felt like that was just a wild moment to be in the courtroom while they're playing this apology video and Diddy is sitting right there. And by the way, he didn't have any type of reaction to this, none at all. He just kind of sat there. And so the government starts to say, well, what did you think of the video, type of thing? And she says she was disappointed. And there was an objection, and then there was a sidebar and a break. And basically what was discussed here is that the government's line of questioning, they were going to elicit from Jane that she was disappointed that he didn't say Cassie's name. And I'll admit, I think a lot of us were when we heard that video. I was like,
Just say, y'all. I just said, it's disappointing because he didn't say Cassie's name. That video is such a poor video. And I asked the legal expert because just so you guys are aware, I actually made it inside the courtroom 2 times. I went to New York City last week and I made it inside. And while I made it inside, I made friends with a lot of great legal experts, a lot of great people. Shout out to them. Shout out to everybody there. It was awesome meeting everybody. And so I said, I don't think Diddy should take the stand. I said, I think he's the only one that can defend this. And do you know what each of them said to me? Separate conversations, guys. Each of them said to me, did you see the apology video? I'm like, yeah. They were like, do you think that should take the stand? And I'm like, God damn it, you're right. That should not take the stand. That is egotistical jerk who doesn't understand, doesn't have self-awareness, doesn't see the world around him. But I still stand on, I think Diddy should take the stand. He's the only one that can defend against these women. And again, what I'm seeing was a lot of drug use, a lot of sex addiction, a lot of shopping addiction, a lot of gluttony with these people. And also, another thing that came out today that was interesting is allegedly Jade and him ran into one of the entertainers. That's what they call the men that they bring into their room. And the entertainer was hanging out with another rapper and his girlfriend. So I was watching like academics and people like that. And they're like, damn, I didn't know that things like this happen in the entertainment industry. So it was pretty wild that things like that happen. And they were like shocked to know that people, see that. Guys, if you're watching, please hit the like button, hit the like button. Tapping is clapping. Let's get the likes up, guys. Let's get the likes up. I definitely want to make sure that we have all the likes up. I need you to tap, tap, tap the screen. If you're also watching on TikTok, I am live streaming on YouTube. You can come watch my YouTube link in bio, and I'm playing clips as we go. So I'm going to play the rest of Lauren Conlin and what she said had happened in the courtroom. And as we go through and we get her update, I am going to mix it in with clips. I'm going to talk and play clips of Carisha, aka Young Miami, because she did come up today in the court. I am only putting two and two together since we're not supposed to know who Jane is. That she is alluding to Carisha, she was alluding to Gina. And putting two and two together and listening to the testimony, it was very clear that Carisha, aka Young Miami, came up. And I'm going to play the clip that they referenced, but let me play the rest of what she's saying. Again, if you're watching on on TikTok, you can go link in bio and watch with me on my YouTube. Let's go. Hold on. Let me play the clip.
This is BS. He didn't even apologize to Cassie. It's so general. Well, Mark Agnifilo had objected and they had this sidebar and they're discussing this. And he said, look, this is actually attorney-client privilege because I'm the one that told Mr. Combs not to say Cassie's name because I felt like a grand jury was about to be convened and Cassie's name would be dropped. So, I would like to strike the line of questioning and the answer, yada, yada. And that is essentially what happened. They did strike that, why were you disappointed? And she wasn't able to answer that. But I thought that was really, really interesting just to hear all of that. So this was May of 2024. Oh, and then, in the video, he says, I'm going to try to be a better man, or I'm going to continue to be a better man. Well, then we hear about June 18th, 2024, a night that sticks out in Jane's mind. They were going to have a date night, she and Diddy, at her home in LA, the one that he pays for, and that quickly turned very sour when she asked him about a family trip he took. She assumed it was with another girl. They get in this fight, and she talks about how he bent over and she slammed his head against marble, and she ran away after this, and she said she locked the bedroom door, he kicked it down. She locked the bathroom door, she ran in there and he kicked it off the hinges. She locked the master closet door, and then she describes kind of.
Yeah, not gonna lie to you. I was really disappointed to hear about the abuse of Jane, because I was like giving Diddy the benefit of the doubt, because for 2 days she was on the stand. Actually, this is day 3. We never once heard about abuse. So I was like, maybe Diddy changed. And then I hear this story. So how it started, I love you, Lauren, but you're leaving out some details. How it started from what I read is she was actually berating him. She was talking crazy to him. Being yo, blah, blah, blah. You can only imagine. By this point, we're 3 years into the free costs and hotel stays with her and him. 3 years of her probably thinking, when am I going to get that title to be your girlfriend? When am I going to get that title for us to move forward? And I'm not going to lie, I've been in a relationship before where it just was not progressing forward. And you get tired. Ladies, where have you been at? Ladies, I know you can know what I'm saying. You've been in that relationship where you just get tired. However, I never put myself in no situation like this to literally be someone's rag, if you know what I'm saying. So I'm gonna just leave it there. But she was getting sick of him. So she's getting abusive with him. She's talking rah-rah. She threw a candle at him. She got abusive with him first. She hits him in the head, and something triggered Diddy, because he said, you know what? I'm about to beat this today. And he went, chased her up and down the little rental house he was giving her. Mind you, I believe the house was in his name also. I believe he had to co-sign for her because he was giving her $10,000 a month, which covered the rent of that place. So he's chasing her down. He's busting doors down because she left these parts out. And basically, he chases her down the darn block. When he chases her down the block, she runs outside, runs about 6 blocks. I guess she's half naked on top of it, from what she said. And then Finally, 2 hours later, she comes back to the house and he's still fired up. He's still beating that. And I'm not saying it's right, but Diddy got some stamina. Now we know why Young Miami said, you got to be a Tesla, charged up, revved up to be with him. I don't know where he gets it from. And I'm going to say this because I said this on the new party with Gray Mars when we do our daily coverage of Diddy. We'll be back doing it tomorrow at 12 p.m. For everybody watching, we will be back tomorrow with our daily Diddy coverage at 12 p.m. tomorrow. You can watch here on YouTube, Nora Christine Live, or at the new party. And anyways, going back to what I was saying, I said I believe that him getting arrested saved his life. Because think about the amount of drugs this man was taking, coke, all the stuff. I don't want to say it on here, but the amount of drugs he was taking saved his life getting arrested. Okay. This was a charged up man. This was somebody pretty charged up, guys. And I don't know how he's still alive. I'm going to say that. I don't know how Diddy is still alive, guys. Okay. But anyways, going back to this, if you're watching on on TikTok, because I see a few of you guys are, link in bio, tapping is clapping. Let's tap the screen. Tap the screen if you're watching on YouTube. Tap that heart if you're watching on X. I'm going to play the rest of the tape now.
Changing out of her clothes because she wanted to run away. And so she kind of, he's banging on the door. He's, yelling at her, calling her crazy. She eventually comes like running out, trying to get to the front door. And she says that he kind of kicks her in the leg. She falls, and then he picks her up in a chokehold. And he ends up just, like dragging her back, dragging her by the hair. He, kicks her and punches her, and she runs away, and she runs a few blocks away. She describes like hiding behind this wall for what felt like 2 hours, but she wasn't really sure. And then she goes back to the house because she thinks he's probably gone, and she sees that he's still there. So she kind of runs like towards the backyard. She describes going into a fetal position, and he punches her like in the temple twice, kicks her repeatedly, brings her back inside. And then she ends up taking his phone at one point and calling the girl that she thought he was out with, which I think a lot of us assumed Gina, or called the girl he thought he was on a trip with. And she says that he's holding her down, and this girl's on the phone, and this girl is insulting her, and Jane is being held down, and he's forcing her to hear these insults. And then finally she yells something like, he's beating my ass, and then Diddy hangs up. Then she says,
think that this was Gina she called. This sounds like a Young Miami move. Young Miami, us Miami girls, we talk crap. I could see her popping off like, oh yeah, he messing you up. Oh yeah, you mad he with me? Well, we just business partners. Like, because I don't think Young Miami knew what time it was. This was business for Young Miami. And again, this is why I don't think he was holding Cassie back, guys. Because Young Miami, she got what she could from the relationship. She got her little podcast. She got business moves. She got song features from it. She was grinding because she was like, at any time she knew this man could leave her, let me take what I can from it. Let me hustle up and level up and stop focusing on being in a commitment. Why would you want to be committed to a person like this anyways? Why not use them for them using you? Something like this you don't fall in love with. You use it for a good time. You use it for the time of day. And ladies, this is what you need to learn. You can't make a man love you. You can't force a man to be with you. And honestly, the summation of this case, along with a lot of addiction, to me, is toxicity. This is the definition of toxic relationship. Gina was toxic. Cassie was toxic. Diddy was toxic. Jane Doe, whatever her real name is, I can't say it on here because the feds is watching, was toxic, but y'all know who it really was. They was all toxic. Okay. Toxic people. Because anybody not toxic, within 5 minutes, they would peep game from Diddy and they would say deuces. I think the only one that wasn't toxic was Carisha, if you ask me. But let me play the rest of this clip.
Says she goes to the shower, and he follows her to the shower, and he slaps her 3 times across the face. She loses her balance and she falls. She comes out, and he's on her phone, and he's actually texting an entertainer. He's texting Anton. And this is kind of crazy. He scrolls up and he sees a text thread from them about Anton running into he and Jane's mutual friends. Now, these mutual friends, apparently Jane went to Vegas with a rapper and his girlfriend in January of 2024, and the rapper and his girlfriend, she saw them, watch them have intercourse with Anton, and that's what happened. And
Okay, I didn't know that line.
Diddy's like, what did you do? And she's like, I didn't do anything. He calls Anton over to literally have an FO, essentially. He tells Jane to go put makeup on, get ready. She doesn't want to do it, but she does it. She says she's kind of forced to perform oral after he gives her an ecstasy pill. And she said she didn't want to do it. And she said that Diddy looked at her and said, is this coercion? He said those words. And she didn't say anything. She went out, she did it. And she said it was awful. She felt terrible. And after the fact that all this happened.
All right, pause for the cause, guys. Let me say this. I'm going to, in particular, comment on Jane's relationship with Diddy. Jane wanted to be his girlfriend. However, Diddy was essentially her sugar daddy. Diddy made it clear throughout multiple text messages, multiple voicemails, and I have one of them I'm going to play for you. Matter of fact, let me pull that up now. And basically was like, look, you be on your job. This is your job. If you want this rent paid, this is your job. Now, I don't think that's coercion. I'm going to tell you why. It was quid pro quo. That was part of their relationship. Now, what do I mean by that? Think to any relationship you've ever had. You knew the obligations and duties as a girlfriend. Not everybody's getting their rent paid, but some people, you may have a boyfriend that pays a cell phone bill. You got to do things that boyfriend likes. I don't think this is coercion. And guys, if this is what we're labeling as coercion, I really think we're opening a messy door. And I don't think that's fair. I'm going to play this voicemail. I don't know who it was, to be clear. In this voicemail, I'm not confirming nor denying if this person that's featured is her. I'm just simply playing the voicemail so you guys can hear it. Again, I'm not necessarily saying that this was, or that this person is the person, because the feds is watching, and I'm not saying that. I just want you to really hear the voicemail that was leaked.
Hey, I really don't know what's going on with you, but I just want to just give you a heads up that I'm about to really disappear on you. You feel me? I'm not going to be playing these games with you at all, at all. So I don't know. You think you silent treating me, and you think I'm gonna be You'll have a rude awakening. You'll just have silence, and ain't nobody threatening you. And I ain't trying to go back and forth with no woman. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, I ain't got no time for no motherfucking games. Where my life is at right now, I don't have no time for no games, baby girl. Me and you could be mad. I could have a spat. We could have whatever. Then after that, you better get on your job. That's really that's all it is. Cause you got me on my job. Nah, it ain't never gonna work like that over here. You know what I'm saying? I was trying not to leave this message, but you have left me no choice. So either you go in the direction of like moving on and shit like that, or you like just like have me just keep moving. Ain't no threat. I'm just being clear. I can't do this shit with you every time you get upset.
So you guys pretty much heard that voicemail. He's telling her, look, this is the details of our arrangement. Again, I don't think there was no coercion. The simple fact is, Jane, if you ain't want that rent paid, then you need to just say no more. I go find my money. I go make my money. And again, ladies, get your money up, get your own damn job, and go figure it out yourself. If you have an education, if you got your own money, you don't got to depend on a man to do these things. But Jane would rather lay on her back than go get a job. It's that simple. Okay. It's really that simple. And it's a hard pill to swallow. I wish I had soundtracks on my other feed. I do. But it's really that simple. If Jane would have went and got her a job, Jane wouldn't have to be laying on her back and taking this. Okay. It's that simple. Jane wouldn't have had to do 3, 4 rounds with 4 or 5 different men in a night. It's that simple. This was Diddy's requirements to be his girlfriend. This is what he required out of her. He didn't require this out of everybody, but he did her. And Jane, you need to look within yourself and realize why did Diddy think why did Diddy think he was able to do this to me? But instead, she's going to play victim. And instead, you got people that are going to allow her to play victim. And to me, this is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? We got to hold women accountable. And as a woman, I don't think she's a victim. I'm sorry, I don't. About to play this next clip. Let me continue on.
You know, they work out payment. She Ubers cash to him later, and Diddy won't drop it. He says, you know, I just can't shake this Anton thing. She tells him, he kind of freaks out, and she said he kind of berates her for 2 more hours, and then eventually security comes. He leaves. They give her cash to fix the doors and to pay Anton. The jury sees photos of the damage done. We didn't see this done. And then she talked about how she saw him days later because she missed him so much. And this is at his house. Now, I might be forgetting some things here. I've got all these notes, but there was a lot to take in, and her cross-examination should start tomorrow. She's got to be out of here for a trip that's planned by Thursday. So let's see.
A trip that's planned by Thursday. Ain't this some stuff? He's still paying her rent, and she still got money to go pay for trips. He's still paying her attorney, and she still got money to go on trips. This is a joke. It really is a joke. And again, listen, I'm not going to be a Diddy apologist. I'm not going to say that he's 100% innocent or guilty, but I really honestly struggle with a lot of this stuff. I'm not going to lie to you. But anyways, guys, I want to play this clip right here where it talks, this attorney went on Piers Morgan, and she talked about a clip that was being shopped around. Let me play this for you, because I can only imagine who shopped it around. And, you know, was it Jane on this clip, or was it Cassie? Who was it? We don't know. She doesn't leak the name. Let me play it.
Was recently contacted by someone who wanted me to essentially represent them in the sale of one of the Diddy tapes. So, which I declined that because...
Wait a minute. Say that again. Say that again. Back up. You're saying that there's tapes and they're being shopped?
Yes, there have been people already shopping.
We've heard about the tapes, but
yes.
The shopping thing is...
Yes, there already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood, being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood. But one particular person contacted me to shop a particular video they were in possession of, and to contact the person who was in the video to see if they were interested in purchasing the video before it became a public knowledge.
I've heard this before. So like a catch and kill.
Catch and kill, correct.
Wow. Can you, and I guess you can't reveal the person who is on
No, I can't explain who the person was, but Mr.
High profile?
Mr. Combs was in the tape, and this other person is, I would venture to say, more high profile than Mr. Combs.
Really? Really? And you've seen it?
I've seen stills of the video.
Okay.
You
can verify
that it exists, that it's real, that the other person in the video is very visible. It's no question if it's that person in the video, and I can tell the video is pornographic in nature.
Oh my. All right. So we know that he videotaped a lot of activities at his home, did he? And it sounds like there was probably a lot of hidden cameras as well. Is that what is being talked about?
Yes. This was actually in his Atlanta home, at a home he had in Atlanta at one point. And it does seem that the person isn't like looking into the video. So it's, to me, doesn't seem like that person knows they're being videotaped. It doesn't seem like they're active participant in the videotaping, like they're being surreptitiously recorded it.
Mm-hmm. All right. I wanted to ask you about the police report we talked about, but when your client came out, obviously the neighbor knew. Did she talk to her family? Did she talk to her friends? Did she have another lawyer? Let's go back to your client.
So at the time, she, as most rape victims are, they feel a lot of shame.
Absolutely.
And
all right, guys, I just wanted to show you about the tapes that was being shopped around, because remember, she said, just a reminder for those of you guys just now listening, she said that one of the entertainers, aka the men they were sleeping with, secretly pulled out a phone and recorded her with him without their knowledge, and then was trying to shop the tape around to extort them. Luckily, they were able to tell that guy, hey, if you do this, we got lots of attorneys. You don't want to mess with us. But also, today, a lot of jealousy came up. I don't know if Lauren really touches on that. Let me see if she has a video where she touches on it. But pretty much She brought up a lot of men's names. She was very jealous, this girl that was here. Super, super jealous. Okay. So pretty much, um, you know, this, oh, wait, hold on. She does talk about the jealousy. Let me play this, and we're gonna play clips of Young Miami because I gotta touch on that. Hold on, guys. Tapping is clapping, guys. If you're watching, please hit the like button. Let's get the likes up. We need to get to some likes, so hit the like button, please.
To a talent show at my kid's school. So I'll be back later, but I wanted to run down what is happening so far with Jane still on the stand. She's expected to finish her direct testimony either today by the end of the day or tomorrow morning. Now, what she indicated right off the bat is that she would text Diddy on 2 different phones. He had these 2 different phones. She also talked about the fact that they got a 3rd phone, she and Diddy, to record some of their explicit videos because his assistants had access to his other phones and she just didn't want that out there. She also started reading from a September 2023 text thread between she and Diddy. And we can't see this in the gallery. Only the jurors can see this. But it was a back and forth about how she, at one point, he promised to take her on a yacht to this island off of the coast of Miami, and they never did that. This was after a hotel night, and she ended up hearing him on a podcast talking about taking another woman to this yacht on this yacht to this island. That started a whole big fight between them. I think the government was trying to maybe connect that with fraud, that he promised her something and he didn't do it. And he tells her, you know, baby girl, that's just podcast talk, etc., etc. And
Okay, guys,
they have,
pause.
you know, a big...
I gotta play the clip that she's referring about so you guys know. I'm gonna play this clip of him in Young Miami. Many people have not seen it, so I gotta play it for you guys. Let me stop screen. Hey, share the screen. Tapping is clapping. Let's get the likes up, guys. This is the clip of Young Miami and him, and the clip that she's referring to.
How would you be going?
You know.
The people don't.
You know them.
I know, but the people don't.
Okay, so
I'm
what's the answer?
asking for the people.
What's the answer? What's the answer?
Baby, let me tell y'all something. On the witch yacht. This nigga don't go to sleep. I be like, God damn. I'm gonna tell y'all something. For real. I already thought that I was gonna like make him tap out. Like I already thought he was gonna be being out no chest. This nigga don't go to sleep. Like I be like, nigga, go to sleep. You gotta be energized, you gotta be charged up like a Tesla.
When you going off the grid with me, you gotta go to sleep for a week.
Yeah, because it's definitely giving no sleep. So how many rounds you be going?
You know.
So this is the clip that they're talking about that she was saying, how many rounds do you go? Well, you know. That's the clip that they're referring to with him in Young Miami. I'm going to continue playing Lauren, what she's saying, and then I'm going to play also some other clips of Young Miami. But pretty much what I gather is that you don't sleep when you're with Diddy. He's on the go like a damn Energizer bunny at 50-something years old.
Back and forth. And she, again, says she feels used. I'm paraphrasing, but text along those lines. They end up FaceTiming, and she says, okay, I'll come visit you in New York after all, because she had said initially, you know, I'm not coming to visit you. You know, I just feel gross. I feel used. They FaceTime. He says all the right things. And he says, you know, we don't have to do any hotel stuff. And she gets on her flight, and she says mid-flight, her heart just sinks because he sends her an entertainer to approve. And she kind of just says, you know, okay, I didn't get service. So she lands, she was all excited to go to dinner, not have a hotel night. And it turns out it's really late. They go to some club lounge and they bicker and they end up having a hotel night after all. She also said at another point, she said that they were having another argument, and this is just a few days later, and she's just saying that she doesn't want to be with him anymore, et cetera, et cetera. And then he sends her a screenshot of what the doctor said about his knees. I guess he was having knee problems. And she kind of just said, you know, she put her frustrations aside and she started talking to him nicely again, or kind of like the way they were, and they end up getting together and having another hotel night. Now, she also describes, and I believe she talked about this last week as well, this one sobriety night that she had where she decided to do a hotel night without drugs. And she talked about having relations with 3 different escorts, and between the second and third escort, she threw up. And she
Pause for the cause. I want to play this clip of Young Miami, and here we go.
Okay. Yeah, why I picked this one.
Oh, Lord. What is it?
I can't say it.
You got to.
It say take a shower if you like golden showers. I do.
Golden showers, meaning when the guy pees on you, pee on you everywhere. You like it?
I just like it.
You do? Freak. Freak of the week, huh? So you say take a shot. You not take. You say take a shot. Oh, we need a shot.
I take a shot.
You like golden showers?
I do.
But like peeing on you.
I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's just too.
I'm gonna be honest. Hold on, one more thing. I need something a little less. Right? So I'm gonna be honest with you. I've never had a golden shower.
I did.
Did you? I've never had a golden shower. Like
You know, all of y'all, if y'all know about Miami, y'all know that Carisha is a freak if you out freak Trina. That's all I'm gonna say. Trina even like, well, I've never even done that. That's a little bit too freaky for me. And Trina was the original Young Miami. If you're from Miami, you know this. She's the baddest. She was it. She was the queen of Miami at one point. You know, Young Miami's probably taken over that title. Wow. You know it's bad if you out freak Trina.
I've given one. Oh, is that the same thing as skirting or?
Yeah, they say that. I don't know, but I don't had to go to shower and I like.
I give them.
Ooh,
Okay.
Yeah, why I picked this one.
Oh Lord, what is it?
Oh, wow. All right. Let's continue on with my girl Lauren here.
talked about, sorry, my blush. Sorry. She talked about the when she threw up, Diddy kind of saw her throwing up and he was like, oh, good, now you'll feel better. And then she had to go and finish. And she also talked about after this sobriety night, this whole experience, she was very sick. She got a UTI and she had a yeast infection. And then we saw more texts. I mean, we saw a lot of.
Isn't this like the trend with Diddy and these girls and these freak offs? They get all these damn UTIs. Like, damn, Diddy, what you giving these girls? What the hell?
Text this morning about them arguing and her really expressing the fact that she feels she feels used. She said at one point sex was sacred to her. Now it's not. He's kind of ruined that for her. She feels like she was emotionally manipulated. She said that she started to have PTSD from the hotel nights and she needed a therapist. She said in text messages that he emotionally manipulated her. And we heard voice notes from Diddy as well. There was one voice note in particular after she said she sent him a note after the sobriety night where she was with these 3 men and she asked him to put something in her account. She needed money or something, or she wanted to furnish the house, and he didn't respond for a day. And then she texted him again, like, you weren't too busy to respond to me when I was doing all these things you wanted, etc. And then he leaves her this voice note, and he sounded kind of messed up, but he's like, I'm in Miami. I don't need no bitches. Like, you're all crazy type of thing. And that's a big theme, him calling her crazy. He said she's crazy a lot. She always seems to be crazy whenever she would voice her opinion about not wanting to do the hotel nights. And at one point when she was kind of trying to break up with him again, she said, I'm not Gina or Cassie. And the government said, well, what did you mean by this? And she's like, they just kind of left quietly. She said, I don't exactly remember what I meant, but
Speaking of leaving quietly, I want to show you guys the screen of a beef between Young Miami and Gina. Young Miami says, attention B, I am the attention. Let's be clear. Notice me, please. B, go sit down. We see you relax. It's okay. You've been around, just around for years. You've been waiting on this moment. If he can't make you famous, B, I ate. And this is him and Gina, because Gina initially wrote, if anybody isn't seeking attention, B, it's you. So this was in response to when she posted that. Suck my D, I don't give up. This was their little beef Why you so pressed, mama? I thought you was a city girl. So I guess this is their beef, them going at it.
Chill. You better.
So yeah, let me go back to my girl Lauren here.
I kind of meant like, you know, maybe I wasn't going to leave quietly type of thing. Let me see. Oh, there was another point where she actually said the phrase to him, quote, "I know I was consenting." And I thought this was maybe something to point out because Diddy had said to her during another argument, well, if anybody were to watch these videos, you know, you would look like you're enjoying it. So I think, you know, she wanted to just put that out there. You know, I know I was consenting, maybe saying, well, now I'm not type of thing. But that was a moment because the government kind of focused on that for a second and made us listen to her say the word consent a few times. Oh, and this morning, I should just point this out. This morning, before we started,
Hey guys, for everybody watching on TikTok, I am live streaming on my YouTube. Link in bio if you want to follow along. I'm playing a clip right now.
The judge called in the lead counsel from the defense and the government to the roving room, which is off the record. So we don't know what happened in there, but they didn't come out for like 10 to 15 minutes. And then we kind of started right away, but people were kind of talking. Some people, I mean, this is pure speculation. We really have no idea what happened, but some people were like, was there a juror issue? Some people were like, maybe is there a plea deal? But there really wasn't much going on this morning. I thought maybe the government would argue their stance on the mistrial that the defense had filed a letter for mistrial over the weekend, but their response is coming tomorrow morning. So we won't hear about that until then.
Yeah, guys, that's the other thing. They're trying to say that there's a mistrial. So we could stop watching her little clip. But I do want to show you guys the rest of the Young Miami Gina beef. Because remember, as you guys can recall, Jane or whatever her name is, I don't want to say her real name. She pretty much was just like, I'm not Gina. Well, this was Young Miami and Gina going at it. She said, if I wanted to eat your pee, Diddy would have had you on your knees. You a eater. You want a baby pee. I have a career. You a certified freak. You haven't heard from Diddy since the awards, reminiscing on AB's Let That Hurt Go, Chun-Li. Gina, you've been down bad ever since I came into the picture. You've been crying for a baby for 10 years. You've been around as a bee that eat P and D when you feel like you would eat her. You're the same bee that was crying on Tasha K because you wanted a baby. Poor Sushi. So yeah, I mean it's pretty bad between them, as you guys can see. The amount of back and forth with them, it's definitely not good with them. You know, it's interesting that he was very. What's interesting to me is he was very public with Young Miami, but he had Gina and Jane in the dark taking secret pics on the side, but he was definitely very very, very public with her. I wonder if it's because she's famous, why he's doing that. I don't know. I don't get why he was so public with her in private. But I could only think, I'm not gonna say who it is. Let me say this. Allegedly, she has a kid with someone he knows. I could only think this is payback for whatever beef he had with this person. I'm not going to say who. And this was basically like a FU to him by having her get down on her knees and do it. Okay. And that's generally what I think is going on. I genuinely think that this was a big payback. Okay. But yeah, guys, so that was pretty much the big highlights of the day about the beatdowns and seeing him with someone else. She went over it. The other big story that came out that I want to touch on before I wrap up the stream is, did y'all hear what happened in Vegas, honey? Honey, this is why you shouldn't beef with nobody. On the Vegas Strip, YouTuber Schmurders, another YouTuber, and his wife, after a long running beef. I'm going to play this clip for you. If you have young children in the room, I suggest you get out. Let me share my screen. So yeah, guys, that is the crazy clip of the night. Um, Not really much more to say on that. That was pretty scary. Maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow on the new party. But yeah, guys, tapping is clapping. Hit that like button. We're gonna wrap up for the night. God bless. Good night. Shout out to Enzo and the new party team. We'll be back on tomorrow.